Hit me.
From Studio A in Arcata, behind the redwood curtain, it's time for...
Succotash.
Succotash Clips, the original comedy soundcast featuring snippets from comedy...
Soundcasts.
And here's your host from up the coast, practically unknown outside of comedy soundcasting, Comedy Soundcast Soundcaster, Tyson Saner.
Saluton. How's everybody out there? This is Succotash, the Comedy Soundcast Soundcast, and I am your host, Tyson Saner. Once again, I'm bringing to you this tasting plate of different soundcasts from around the English-speaking parts of the world. In case anyone is following along at home, I am still learning Esperanto with Duolingo and can now read much more of it than I ever expected to be able to. I don't get much practice speaking it, but who knows? Maybe I can find a community of Esperantists who are also soundcasters. Perhaps next year. Anyway, I've got clips for you from these soundcasts. Podcheese, The LIL Show, Who Charted, Talking Without Thinking, Trevor Has Friends, and The Joe Rogan Experience. I've also got a single shot of Raging Moderate Will Durst Burst of Their segment, and would you believe it, a brand new Henderson's Pants spot. Listen for that somewhere in the middle of the show. Well, are you ready for the clips? I hope so, because here they come. Longtime listeners might remember Podcheese was originally featured in March of 2013 on Succotash Epi172, titled Featurin' Some Radio Fubar Shows. The iTunes description reads as follows. Enjoy the awesomeness that is Podcheese with heroes Benny and Wacky Josh as they broadcast from their underground headquarters and take on the world's problems armed only with their wit, charm, and beer. On iTunes, their show numbering goes back as far as episode 25, published on May 6, 2013. This clip is going to be from episode 67, The Resume, released May 17th of 2018. Episode description reads as follows. Our heroes are joined by Steve Reeves of the Passive Aggressive Hour. Josh was fired from a booking agency. Josh's comedy bio. The Rich Piana life and career tribute continues. This clip features pretty much the beginning of the discussion of what is the titular resume.
I don't know what Benny's going to pull up, but I don't like this at all.
This is your resume.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I like a good resume.
I don't even know what I put on this thing.
This is your bio. I don't have your resume. This is Josh's bio.
Why do you save everything?
Just in case.
Well, it comes in handy.
I didn't make this. You made this. You made this.
No, I didn't.
No, yeah, you definitely plugged some shit in.
Josh Bennett, comedian. Should I read his phone number? No, he's got his phone number and his email address.
Oh, boy.
Bio. Josh was born on December 14th.
Wait, this was a joke. All right.
Here is the short list of some well-known people born on the same day. Nostradamus, soothsayer. Patty Duke, Oscar winner. And Abraham Lincoln, tall person. On December 4th, 1799, George Washington died. His last words were, I feel myself going. I thank you for your attentions, but I pray you take no more trouble about me.
Wait, did I send this to him?
Let me go off quietly. I cannot last long. He was 67. Josh is not 67, nor is he dying, nor is he so eloquent, but he is better looking. Not only is Josh better looking than George Washington, he's also one of the best comedians ever. Josh is a rising star on the national and international comedy scene.
Wow.
What is that?
That makes you want to book you.
No, this got him fired. The guy fired him immediately after he said this.
Oh, that's right. I think I did send this.
Called me to tell me Josh was fired so I could relay the news. Here's a list of comedy clubs and venues Josh has performed at. The Comedy Cabaret, which, for people that have been with us a long time, the club that coined the nickname the Wacky Josh Bennett. Helium Comedy Club. Riots Comedy Club, which was my room in Media, PA. That ended up on Josh's resume. The Comedy Caravan in Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay, you made that one up, right?
Yes. The Wits End Comedy Club in Westminster, Colorado.
Oh, this is the best.
The Down Under Comedy Club in Sydney, Australia. George's Comedy Club. This is where Josh started getting less creative with his lies. George's Comedy Club in London. He just got real lazy making up these.
Down Under. Why would they call it the Down Under Comedy Club?
This is in Australia.
Yeah, but
They know they're down under.
Yes.
They don't need to call.
That's like would you ever hear of the American Comedy Club? You know what I mean?
You're right.
It's a very lazy name there, Josh, but very clever. But what else do we have after George's? What do we have?
Comedy Blast, which was the talent agency that fired Josh.
Yeah, but wait a second, dude. What's in Montreal? Please tell me that's what I think it's.
Knee Slappers Comedy Club. Now, why? Now, first of all, this looks like a list of clubs that somebody would actually have. But what information? What good would this information be doing anyway?
No, I
I
understand.
really didn't see the urgency or need or purpose for you to get this resume.
It makes no sense to require this, but it is very funny that you took the 3 minutes to put this together.
Contests. 2007 Jersey's Funniest, first place.
Very good.
In 2008, WKPR in Cincinnati Comedy Contest, first place.
It's WKRP in Cincinnati.
Is that from that show? That old
Yeah,
show?
it's exactly from the show.
Oh, God,
the
that's
show
what it
is
says.
called WKRP.
WKRP in Cincinnati Comedy Contest.
Radio/television credits.
This is apart from WKRP, of course.
The Tom and Tom Show. And in parentheses 104.8 K-Rock. Is that a real show?
No.
And Destination Investigation Extra.
I don't know what that means.
References available upon request. Now, let's say someone like myself were to request some of these references. Whose name would you have?
I would have contacted Riot's Comedy and got one reference. Oh my god! I forgot this is why I got fired.
After months of haranguing Josh for a resume, this is what he sends.
Right.
And,
So if you go to www.podcheese.podbean.com, beans and cheese, and click Meet the Heroes, you will find this information. Wacky Josh. That's W-H-A-C-K-Y, Josh. Wacky Josh. Wacky Josh. Says Josh was born on December 14th. Here is a short list of some well-known people born on the same day. Nostradamus, soothsayer. Patty Duke, Oscar winner. And Abraham Lincoln, tall person. On December 14th, 1799, George Washington died. His last words were, quote, I feel myself going. Thank you for attentions, but I pray you take no more trouble about me. Let me go off quietly. I cannot last long. Unquote. He was 67. Josh is not 67, nor is he dying, nor is he so eloquent, but he is better looking. Not only is Josh better looking than George Washington, he's also one of the best comedians ever. Josh is a rising star in the national and international comedy scene. And under host Benny's name, it just says, Benny, a delightful young man, to be continued. The show is also on Stitcher, iTunes, Player FM, and Blueberry, and that is BLUBRRY. And if you want to reach out to them, you can find the show on Twitter at Podcheese, Podcheese. You might be able to find Josh Bennett on Twitter at JBENNETT300. And Benny is Benny Michaels. You can probably tweet at BENNYSHOW. And you can follow guest Steve Rees at that Steve Rees. THATSTEVEREES. I was recently featured as a guest on Strange Times, episode 265, titled Asparagus, whose roster included Hannah Woodhall and Pablo Diablo Bonzo, who was featured in a clip from the Soundcast he contributes to known as Food to Watch Film Spy in Succotash Epi172. Trippin' the clip's fantastic. Another Soundcaster who was on that show was Benny Michael Fox of Podcheese. Anyway, Strange Times is on the Podnose network, so I went to www.podnose.com to see what else was on their network of Soundcasts and found the LIL Show. That's L-I-L for London Improv Live by Talal Karkuti, K2K Radio. Now, the iTunes description reads as follows. London Improv Live, a live weekly improv comedy show on k2kradio.com, edited down for your podcasting pleasure. The host, Talal Karkuti, is joined by his co-hosts Alex Sievewright and Luke Valvona, and every week features new guests, new discussions, new characters, new stories, and new songs. iTunes only goes back as far as episode 24, published on October 28, 2015. This clip is from episode 115, Little Maggot, featuring Merlin's Beard. It was released on June 1st, 2018. Here's a brief description of the episode. The official and only improv team of the University of Kent makes their debut appearance on London Improv Live. Vin, Tom, and Alex from Merlin's Beard join Talal, that's me, to chat skeletons, babies, and ants. We also solve racism, go yiffing, and hear about my dad's suitcase of art being blown up in Beirut. Did I mention that we solved racism? So this clip is from a segment called Stretching and Sharing.
Okay, so I've got ants in my house at the moment, and I have no idea how they got there. I woke up one morning, I think I left a box of donuts out, and they got inside the container, and it's really pissing me off. I've tried hoovering them up, I stamp them with my feet while I'm watching Netflix, and they won't leave. At night, I think I can hear them scrolling around, and being a general nuisance. And it's probably one of the toughest periods of my life I'm going through at the moment.
Boo-boo.
I know. I'd ignore that I'm a university student and I've got loads of debt. I was fine with that, but hearing that I've got ants in my house and I can do nothing about it, that I know of at least.
You just have to learn to cohabit with the ants.
But the thing at this point, it's kind of like the North Korea situation. I've done so much bad shit to the ants at this point. I've committed mass genocide on this populace of people.
No.
I don't know if they will accept me back. Not that I was even part of them.
Use a dustpan and brush and tip him out the window.
But
why you gotta kill them all?
You see, now he's on their side. You're an ant sympathizer.
I am.
What the hell, man?
I'm gonna have an ant rant. Ants have feelings, all right? They deserve respect, and they do a lot for us. And you saying, I don't know how they got there, I'll give you 3 guesses. You're living on top of their home. How about that? And they come out of the ground. That's where ants come from. And if you're going to leave donuts lazily lying around your boudoir, the least thing you're going to expect is a few ants visitors to come and actually clean it up for you.
I would agree with you if at least they asked me, though. At least if they sent a note, if they made a note.
Knock on the door.
Excuse me, I noticed that you've left your donuts out.
Yes.
We're hungry.
Well, ants, why are you inside my house, my home? I didn't invite you in.
Well, why did you build your house on top of our house?
Well, how do I know that my house wasn't here first and you just went underneath the floorboards?
Well, how do I know that that you didn't come here purposefully to disrupt the lives of our lovely ant community?
Well, let's look at this.
This is gentrification of the area.
Well, ants, look at it this way. I'm going to show you this animal chart of like the hierarchy of animals. Mm-hmm. So you see where the ants are? Mm-hmm. And this is the humans. We're really high up high, aren't we?
So, that's really high.
Yeah, I'm basically saying, step back, know your space, and fuck off.
Alex, who's at the door?
It's just some ants being general nuisance.
It's ants again.
It's ants again. They've come in again. They just think...
I had ants the other day. I had
Aunt
ants in my old
Martha,
house.
let Aunt Martha in. That's your auntie.
We're not on good terms at the moment, Aunt Martha.
I was trying to do the voice of your grandma or something, telling you to let your auntie in. She's confused. When I was a little kid, I was like 12, I had a Stretch Armstrong. You guys are quite young. Do you know what a Stretch Armstrong is?
I've seen them in films and stuff.
Yeah, just
my
through
nan
pop
had
culture
one.
references.
My nana had one of those.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So it's like a rubber man filled with like glue, and that you could stretch him. Yeah, and he'd stretch pretty damn far. And it was really tempting as a kid to see how far he would stretch, yeah? And so one day I tied one hand onto the door handle and I jumped in bed holding the other hand. He was like stretched across my room. I was like, wow, he really can stretch. But then I saw a little split in his arm. Like I pulled him to the limit and there was a little split in the rubber and some of the glue started oozing out, yeah? So like, no, stretch. And so I grabbed him off and I got a plaster, and a little band-aid, and I plastered him up and I put him on the bedside table and I left him there to kind of recover when I went to bed and I went to sleep. And I woke up in the morning and he was covered in ants. it was terrifying. It was so terrifying to see my mate, Stretch Armstrong, just crawl, ants all over me. He had this ant exoskeleton.
And yet you still became an ant sympathizer.
Well, I was there going, wow. And then I started tasting the glue to see why they liked it so much, and it was really sweet, sugary gum. It was like Arabica gum or something, it was just beautiful, sweet, and I started joining the ants and sharing the meal with them.
Rip open his intestines and start like gobbling it down.
It became a zombie movie.
Can you imagine, going back to like when we were talking about the toys talking, if your toy could talk, he'd be like in a tremendous pain. Like, no, please, don't do it.
Thanks for sharing, Alex.
It's all right. I feel so much more relaxed now.
And that's enough of that.
You can listen to the LIL Show live every Friday, 6 p.m. BST on K2KRadio.com. That's the letter K, the numeral 2, the letter K, RADIO.com. You can also find them on Patreon if you want to support them financially, or on Twitter at THELILSHOW to support them the quote-unquote boring way, as it says here. And you can follow host Talala Karkuti at TALALABAN. That is Talalaban. And in the number 3 spot, it's From Your Wolf, Who Charted? Originally hosted by Howard Kramer and Kulap Vilaysack. Now Natasha Leggero has co-hosting duties. Who Charted has been featured on Succotash before, back in April of 2013 on episode 56, Kickstartin' with Michael Celestino. That was right before the episode where I made my first contributions to this program. I sent 2 clips into OG Succotash host, now executive producer Marc Hershon, and it was 2 clips from shows on Kevin Smith's Smodcast Internet Radio Podcast Network. The first person to tweet at Succotash Show, that's SUCCOTASHSHOW, with the names of the specific soundcasts I clip, will receive a black knit hat handmade by yours truly. Be sure to use the hashtag KnitCapForTrivia, that is KNITCAPFORTRIVIA, when you tweet to at Succotash Show, and we'll make that happen. In case you've never heard of Who Charted, here's the iTunes description. Howard Kramer brings on some of your favorite comedians to discuss the top 5 songs and movies of the week. Plus, Howard, the guests, and Who Charted crew each bring a new song that they recommend over all the garbage on the charts. Since certain shows have put their archives on Stitcher Premium, it has become a bit more challenging to provide information about when a first episode of a Soundcast dropped, but the information that states that the entire show archive can be found on Stitcher Premium is dated December 21st, 2010. This clip is from episode 392, with guest comedian Jen Kirkman, the aforementioned Natasha Leggero, also a comedian, Brett Morris, and Kevin Bartelt, released June 13th, 2018. The episode description reads as follows. Comedian Jen Kirkman joins Howard and Natasha for this week's Who Charted. Jen shares stories of her own personal summer, and we get a millennial's perspective on music streaming while they count down the top 5 songs on iTunes. Plus, we'll hear about Natasha's ideal life on the road before they explore a new summer sound during Hot Picks.
Shall we do it?
Yes, and I'm excited to hear Jen's take on some of these songs.
I bet I won't know anything.
All right, now
I'm so excited.
I have to perform the music chart live. We do not have a copy of it. I'm going to perform it live right here on the microphone. It's going to be quick, but let's get it done. Music! They used to play LPs, 8 tracks, cassettes, and CDs. Now we download and we stream. If you're a chartist, let me hear you scream. Music!
Wow, I can't believe
I forgot about your musical talent, too.
There we go. So did I.
I love it. I'm such a Howard fan.
Oh, thank you so much, Jen. We should tour together.
Oh, my God, I would love it.
Jen and him.
It always comes with a long disclaimer before it starts.
That's true.
But honestly, touring with another comedian's a good idea.
Yeah. Why, so you can make less money?
No, because you can.
Yeah.
No, because you
So
can
you
go
can
to
get
places that are
annoyed with their
twice as
habits.
big, and you can, piggyback on each other's audience,
True
and
that.
then you have someone
True.
to hang out with.
True
I mean,
that.
it has to be the right person.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think you should split the money with someone who's like half as famous as you.
I'll tell you, work for Cheech and Chong. Solo, they might not have done as much biz.
I'll see if
I'm available.
I'll see if Ricky Gervais wants to tour this.
Oh, there you go.
Would you tour with Brody again, Howard?
I'll let Jen answer that.
We all grew
Yes,
up with
Adrian Brody, the actor.
Oh, yeah.
I'd love to. No.
Brody was fine on the road. You just
Probably a good companion.
Yeah.
He's a sweet guy. We got to have him on the show soon.
We do. We got to have him on.
I want to hear, because I remember
I do love Brody.
He used to be very obsessed with. He would always come on stage. My brother, when I started doing comedy, would always love watching him because he would have his drumsticks in his back pocket, and he would just start his show drumming to some song he liked for like 12 minutes.
Yeah. It was always my favorite.
For too long, though, right?
I don't know. I couldn't get enough. But
it
I'm
was
weird.
funny. I know.
Yeah.
It's
but he has a new special coming out, also on Amazon. I think it comes out next week.
That's great.
Oh, he does? Oh, how amazing.
And he drums at the end of it. So it's shot at the Comedy Store, so check it out.
Okay.
All right, here we go. What is our music list this week?
Top 5 songs on iTunes.
Okay.
Which means they could be slightly better than the Billboard hits, but from a glance at this, it looks
it's
pretty
a different shot.
What do you mean?
Well, usually the most
iTunes.
downloaded.
different shot? Is that what you just said?
It's like a podcast chart. Like, it doesn't mean it. It's like from iTunes only.
People are a little hipper, right?
Well, like you
Slightly?
can go to iTunes to buy songs. So
Yeah.
this is the top. These are the top 5
things people are
songs
buying.
people
Got
bought.
it.
They change more than the Billboard charts too. The Billboard, like 4 of the 5 have been Drake for like 6 months.
Right. I have a quick question, though. Maybe a millennial can answer this. Of
course. I'll try my best.
Why don't people just stream music? That's what I do.
I'll tell you why.
People buy
I buy
terrible
stuff.
songs.
Oh, you buy stuff?
Because I don't really always know if I have an internet connection. I feel too old to understand streaming.
So you want to make sure you have it.
Yeah.
Kevin, what was your answer?
I was going to say the same thing. People just assume they should own a physical copy of it. Also, I'm not sure how you might know. Does more of it go to the artist via iTunes?
I don't know that motivates people. Here's where I was going with it. Because I was going to give the same answer as both of you, but my theory is that it's older people
I agree.
who want the physical copy, and young people are just all stream.
But when you say physical copy, it's not even like it's an
not
album.
even
It's like a
physical,
physical copy of seeing it in your iTunes.
Yeah, like I have friends that are like, I'll tell them about an album and they'll go, "Oh yeah, I'll download that." I'm like, it's like my mom telling me like, "When are you going to be home? I'll call you when you're home." Like, it's just, you don't need to do any of that. You don't need to download something.
Yeah.
And a lot of people still don't understand streaming music, so they just have seen iTunes songs spilled all over Howard.
I'm not even going to move my...
Good thing Howard's wearing a
raincoat.
Seriously.
So I think people are used to iTunes, so they stick with that, where streaming is new to a lot of people.
I see.
I'll grab some
Well,
after.
it's very easy to go on Spotify.
I have this.
Jen, thank you.
There's still people who buy CDs.
Well, that's just sad.
Yeah, that's bad. That's bad.
All right, coming in at number 5.
Number 5.
Cardi B and Bad Bunny and J Balvin with "I Like It."
Yeah, they call me Cardi B. I run this shit like cardio. I'm in district in the chain. Certified, you know I'm gang.
Oh my god, I hate this sample.
It's that old...
It sounds like Psy. Slow down.
Is this a Ricky Martin sample? Who does that song? I like it like that.
Oh, yeah, but it's... The music is like a Cuban... It's probably like public domain. Hey, but it's funny. Do you ever hear the part where she goes, "He's so handsome, what's his name?"
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Yeah, it's very lovely. Do you know anything about these new...
I've never heard of any of the names you said except...
You've never heard of Cardi B?
I just found out about her about a month ago. I still don't know what she was.
Okay.
I just found out she did music probably 2 weeks ago. And this is the first I've ever heard.
Well, don't go to New York with that. She's a rapper from New York.
She sounds great.
Her voice is cool.
Yeah, her voice sounds cool.
She's a talented rapper. She has a very strong point of view, which is like... She's like
Jen, does hip hop make its way into your life? It doesn't seem like it.
Well, it stopped in the 90s. So for me, it was Ice Cube, Ice-T, Public Enemy is one of my favorite bands of all time.
Well, that's great.
Really?
Yeah, but then I stopped. Like, once the message went away, I went away.
I
don't care partying. And
you like conscious hip-hop.
But there's new...
But I like to get into a little... I love Kanye West. I know he's not conscious hip-hop, but I know he's acting crazy. I like a little Common. But I don't like this dance party shit.
I get you.
Wow, you like a lot. You like way more hip-hop than I like.
Well, she likes the older stuff from that era when it was a lot of messages.
Right. Did you used to listen to
They killed JFK in 63, so what the fuck you think they do to me? But I'm the OG, and I bust back.
Wait a minute.
That's me singing Ice Cube.
That was Ice Cube?
That's right. They killed JFK in 1963. What do you think they might do to a black fella?
Well, you made it sound like a junior varsity cheerleader.
Delete that. Edit that out. Stream that.
I Like It Like That was Pete Rodriguez, by the way.
Oh, there
that
you go.
sample.
You can listen to Who Charted through Earwolf, Art19, SoundCloud, iTunes, Player FM, and, of course, Stitcher. The show can be reached on Twitter at WhoCharted, WHOCHARTED, host Howard Kramer at HOWARDKREMER, Natasha Leggero at NATASHALEGGERO, Brett Morris at Brett's Brain, BRETTSBRAIN, Kevin Bartelt at Kevin J. Bartelt, KEVINJBARTELT, and guest Jen Kirkman at JENKIRKMAN.
Hello, friends. Bill Haywatt here. As we move swiftly into midterm election season, now is the time to gingerly extract yourself from those time-consuming, soul-sucking political debates with your so-called friends in order to get on with the business of just living. But how to do it? That's the question. Introducing Henderson's new pushover pants. The perfect garment for those who just don't want to fight anymore. Unlike most pants that are designed to give you full stride for your ride, so to speak, pushover pants have both legs stitched together right along the inseam from crotch to ankle. If you want to move at all, you can only do it taking literally little baby steps. What's more, you are now an easy target for anyone looking to knock you off balance with a simple push, sending you tumbling down onto the ground. Now you won't be expected to stand your ground because you actually cannot, and your friends will be able to walk all over you on their way to the ballot box with you in no position to do more than roll around feeling sorry for yourself. Originally designed from mamby-pambies, widow babies, and 97-pound snowflake weaklings. Henderson's pushover pants are available wherever belligerent salespeople and dime store dicks are employed. That's Henderson's, giving you a leg up since 1921. And now back to Succotash.
Yes, that is the triumphant return of Bill Haywatt and the Henderson's Pants ad. I'm so happy that there are new ads. I love the old ones, but it's there haven't been any made that I've been aware of since I became host, so it's nice to be a part of the new cycle with the new Henderson's Pants ads. It's very cool. So thank you for putting that together. I appreciate it a great deal. And in our number 4 slot tonight, Talking Without Thinking by TWT Podcast Network. iTunes description reads as follows. A weekly comedy podcast that answers the tough questions like, are eggs a meat? Or what would we do without Google? Full episodes with segments and a guest on Tuesdays. So the first 4 episodes and a promo dropped on iTunes December 11th, 2017. And they have 30 full episodes and 43 shorties and 1 bonus episode. So this clip is from episode 29, which is called Sci-Fi Inventions That We Wish Were Real. It was released on June 5th, 2018. Here's a little rundown episode description. It says, today's segments include, we've added 2 more podcasts to the TWT Podcast Network, and Jarrod gets on his soapbox. News we actually care about, trigger warning, that stinky food person at work, power rankings, sci-fi inventions that we wish were real, fun facts, map stealers, woke thoughts, and best week of the week. This clip is from the power rankings, sci-fi inventions that we wish were real.
And we've got our power rankings.
Power rankings.
On this week's
science fiction
power rankings, science fiction inventions.
This is our hangover episode from
it is from Con Carolinas. Exactly. We're going to have a bonus episode, or probably actually next episode we'll talk more about Con Carolinas, because as of this recording we haven't gone yet.
It was lit.
We'll just pretend it was lit.
I'm just going to go ahead and call my shot. Me and Edge became best friends.
Yeah, we're all best friends now. We're actually hanging out for dinner later tonight.
I became good friends with a lot of cosplay women.
Yeah. All that happened. So we'll cover that in our next episode. We'll cover it in detail, and hopefully you watched us on the Twitters.
Yeah, the Instagram as well.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll be a Jarrod Instagram takeover.
All of the things.
On TWT PCast.
Yeah, At TWTPcast. You can catch us on there. Well, so in lieu of that, we are going to do sci-fi inventions that we wish existed in real life.
Yeah.
And we're going to do, as always, we each have our own top 5 lists of which ones, and most of these I would imagine are probably from movies. There may be some from TV shows as well.
All mine are movies. Nope.
Same.
Kind of.
Okay. Some of mine are movies, some of mine are books.
Okay. Well, mine's...
I have surprised.
I have one that's kind of both. All right. Well, let us begin then. Who wants to start? Jason wants to start.
Oh,
Jason, give us number 5.
I'll start with my first one, or fifth one.
Don't give us number 1.
Because it actually does exist. It's in your bathroom right now. It's a towel.
What?
The towel is an integral part to Douglas Adams' The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
What does the towel do in this movie that it doesn't do in real life?
It's just one of the rules of travel, which you should always have a towel with you. Because you never know when you might need a towel.
Jason forgot the rules of this.
I think you forgot the rules of this.
Inventions that aren't real, that we wish were.
Yeah. That was the whole premise of this whole thing.
Well, I've got a backup.
Oh, good. So, Jason, why don't you give us your number 5 pick then?
That's not a towel.
The reason I changed it is because it isn't. It's sci-fi-ish. But it's from a really good book series called John Dies at the End, which is based around
sci-fi-ish.
Yeah,
I'll give it that.
Great book series. Okay movie, but it's the soy sauce, which is this drug that the main characters take as a way of sort of seeing beyond what is viewable in our dimension and seeing the truth of all the crazy shit that actually exists around us. Also, fun fact, the soy sauce usually just kills everybody that takes it, but for John and Dave, they happen to be strong-willed enough to be able to survive it
and handle what they see
and see some crazy shit and
sounds
teleport.
Terrible.
They use it.
That's a lot of sodium.
Would you use this in real life if you had the opportunity?
It might kill me, but if it doesn't kill you, it's a lot of fun. You see a lot of wild shit.
All right. Kind of like LSD.
With the same effects.
You won't die in LSD.
Just one gives you, sodium.
Exactly.
Oh, it's more than that.
Yeah.
All right, Jarrod, number 5.
I'm going to go with the Star Trek transporters. The beam me up Scotty shit.
What does it do? I don't watch Star Trek.
It teleports you from point A to point B by displacing your particles and then replacing them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's kind of like what the Fly attempted to do.
Right.
But failed at. That's why I went with Star Trek's, because it worked.
It actually
Whereas
worked.
Jeff Goldblum's The Fly did not work.
No, it did not.
Turned him into a giant man fly. But it'd be cool to, you'd be from one place to the other without having to truly travel.
No
You
time
just
at all.
appear.
No more. You don't need to own a car anymore.
Yeah.
All right. I'm down with that. All right. My number 5 is the remote control from the movie Click.
Oh, nice.
Where you can control time.
Right. But there's adverse effects to that.
There are adverse effects, but the fact that you could rewind and fast forward time is pretty amazing.
Oh, it would get me out of work that much faster.
Every day.
That'd be really the only time I'd use it.
I'd probably use it for other things.
Like, I'd walk in, punch in, hit the fast forward button.
I want some days.
Then hit play at lunch.
Don't you want to redo some days? There's some moments like Jason.
What's up? Oh God, yes.
Instead of
Jason
seeing
would
the
walk
dude,
in on dude dumping.
You could have just rewinded all that and been like, and then you knew that the dude was in there. And
You're like,
you
whoa,
wouldn't
I'm gonna
repeat
use
that-
the other bathroom.
Exactly. You wouldn't repeat that same mistake
I
again.
could have kept Kennedy from getting shot. Like, duck down, man! They gonna kill your ass.
You can't go that far back. It's your life.
Oh,
that and it might change everything, like butterfly effect style.
Yeah.
You don't want that.
I would end up with this crazy chick in college that a friend of mine ended up with because I didn't know how to take a hint.
You did the dumb.
Worked out for the best though.
Did it?
Jason didn't know how to pull the trigger back then.
For the best.
All right.
Katie was cray.
We believe you.
If you like what you've heard of Talking Without Thinking and you'd like to hear more, you can find more episodes on iTunes, Stitcher, Player FM, TuneIn.com, and CastBox. You can, of course, go to www.talkingwithoutthinking.com. And you can reach the show on Twitter at TWTPCAST. You can reach Scott Lowder at SCOTTLOWDER. Jason Eckard at JASONECKARD. Jarrod Carpenter at The Actual Jarrod, THEACTUALJARROD. And you can join their Facebook group at Facebook/groups/TWTPcast. All right. In the number 5 spot, from the Savage Henry Magazine Radio Network, the Soundcast known as Trevor Has Friends. So the iTunes description of Savage Henry Magazine Radio Network says the podcast network produced by the editors of Savage Henry Magazine, a humor magazine based in Humboldt County, California. That's where I am. More than 10 different podcasts all in one place. And it says to get familiar with Savage Henry Magazine, check out their Facebook page, which is Savage Henry Independent Times, or you can send $1.50 to 791 8th Street, Suite N, Arcata, California, 95521 for a sample issue. So, Savage Henry Magazine Radio Network has been publishing Soundcasts since April 30th, 2012. And as of now, there are 35 episodes of Trevor Has Friends and several episodes of a show called Things Hella Considered. And these are all on the same stream. So in this clip from episode 35 of Trevor Has Friends, it says, Trevor and James welcome one of Humboldt's original comedians, the one and only Dutch Savage. He's a friend of Trevor's. So Trevor is comedian Trevor Lockwood, and James is comedian James Couture. And I'll give you their deets after this clip. Enjoy.
Let's get back to Dutch a little bit before we end this. This is probably gonna be a little bit of a longer podcast than we usually try to, but like you have avenues that are just like unending here in Humboldt.
I do. Well, you're part of the kinetic race every year, right?
I have been for the last 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah. You guys did like what? It was like Planet X this year? Like, do you do
Planet X.
Do a new theme every year?
Yes. The team captains the team we've been on. They
wait, hold on. Let's explain. What is the kinetic sculpture race?
It's the triathlon of the art world. It's 50 years ago. A guy challenged his neighbor to race down Main Street in Ferndale on a modified trike he had, and they called him kinetic sculpture.
So this is a local thing.
Yeah, but now it's everywhere. It's on the East Coast,
right? Because like my like introduction to it was like maybe like a Red Bull commercial.
No, it's better than that. It's
those are the stupid flying machines they try to do.
Yeah, I haven't seen that, but it's not quite the Mountain Dew.
And they expect those to be destroyed. You guys actually.
But I've seen you guys do this around town, and everyone who does it's spectacular.
Oh, it's great. It's like they have a sculpture that's all people powered, and it has to go on land, sand, and water. It's day 2, they go into the Humboldt Bay. It's a 3-day event. It's 40 plus miles. I think last year it might have been 50.
Jesus.
We ride the bikes and walk. Sometimes we walk like on the beach. We drop off our bikes, and then we have a logistics guy that takes our bikes to where we come out. Mm-hmm. But most of it's on the bike, and it's a workout. It's a lot of fun. But
it's a lot of work.
If it sounds interesting, go on YouTube and look up kinetic sculpture or kinetic grand championship is what they kind of call it now. But it's it's for some people around here, it's like Humboldt Christmas.
Yeah, it's pretty rad to see. How did you guys fare in the water aspect this year? Because you did the Planet X, and I saw what you guys did. But I was always curious how you did that in the water.
How do they go in the water?
Like how you your group personally did in the water? Because like your sculptor, like I was looking at what you guys did.
I don't remember. I think they spun out, but they made it. They like in the water, it's just the 2 pilots. They don't. The rest of us just stay on the land and cheer or whatever. So I've never really had to do any of that.
Because you would sink if all of you were.
Oh, it would be a hazard. I mean, one of our team captains 10 years ago, she was on Dwayne Flatmo, that guy's dragon sculpture, and
the artist, the Lost Coast guy.
Yeah, he has a sculpture most years.
Oh shit,
30-something years, but he didn't race this.
Yeah, I see his stuff all the time.
Well, he had a dragon.
I didn't know he was still participating in stuff around the county.
His dragon tipped over, and they had like medieval helmets and stuff, and her helmet got stuck, and where they had to it was kind of scary. So and that was like a multi-piloted machine. So things happen, but no one's ever died that I know of.
How long have you been doing that?
Kinetic sculpture stuff?
Yeah.
I've been on a team for 5 years. Before that, I was a spectator since we moved here.
I've been here 3 years, and I know you've been avid about it, but like the Planet X one was just I don't know, I connected to that a lot, and that was super. It looked super fun. You guys all had the uniforms and everything. You looked like fucking aliens from another planet. You're like, we're from Planet X.
Yeah, that was fun,
and it was so great. And your wife's involved in it.
Yeah,
and it's so great.
Yeah, it's fun. Last year we had the same sculpture, but it looked different, like the same basic. Thing with a different planet had a ring on it.
I have to say, when I found out you had a wife, I liked you a lot more.
Yo, really?
Yeah, I was like, oh my god. There's someone that's another gender that can stand this guy. It's great.
I guess we can hang out with him. He's
and also
he's able to be loved.
She's just the most charming person. So I was like, this guy's got to have some qualities that I have to like pull up.
Either that or there's something wrong with her. I don't know.
Yeah. James is going to try to wear your skin.
No, I'm not. Yeah,
he's moving.
I'm trying
quote
to
unquote.
steal your wife. Is what I'm trying to do. I have to leave because I'm in love with your wife.
Yeah. She might listen to this. I'm telling her.
I don't like James anymore.
He's moving good.
She's an angel.
Oh, she's cool.
Quit saying that.
I can't I was talking to Kim. I was like, I hope Dutch and his wife come.
Yeah, she loves people talking about her when she's not around.
You better tell her before she hears this.
Like, disclaimer on this episode.
Yeah, sorry.
I love Dutch's wife. She's very nice.
Oh, boy, I gotta go.
There are a few. There are a few people I like in this town, and she's like one of them.
All right, and so far you can reach out to the magazine Savage Henry at Savage Henry Mag, SAVAGEHENRYMAG. You can reach Dutch Savage at Bison Jewlog, that's BISONJEWLOG. Trevor Lockwood at SHDWTREV, and James Couture at COUTUREJS, Couture JS. All right, closing out our selection of clips for the show is the Joe Rogan Experience. Now, this soundcast has been clipped a few times over the years by Succotash. The earliest occasion I can find is on episode 5 with guest co-host Marc Pitta. Its iTunes description is quite brief. It just says, the podcast of comedian Joe Rogan. I'm going to include the Wikipedia link here. It is without question one of the most popular soundcasts running currently, and I believe has been for quite a while now. Unfortunately, I can't qualify exactly what quite a while is because I don't have any numbers in front of me. It has 1,113 episodes as of May 8, 2018, and from the information I could find, its original release of it started on December 24th, 2009. So it's about, it was over 1,100 episodes in about 9 years. Pretty good. I've listened to several episodes. Many of them are over 3 hours long, including from the episode that I've clipped today, from episode 1123 with Kevin Smith. It's released on May 31st, 2018. On February 25th of 2018, this year, Kevin Smith had a heart attack after filming his comedy special, which ultimately wound up being named Kevin Smith, Silent but Deadly, and it aired on May 11th on Showtime. In this particular clip from episode 1123, released on May 31st of 2018, Mr. Smith relates to Mr. Rogan some details about his mental state after he began to fully process the seriousness of his situation at the time. I really wanted to share that with you, so here goes.
My mom, years ago, God, it was like 10 years ago, more than that even, maybe 15 years ago at this point, had a heart attack, or a heart episode, rather. My dad died of a heart attack, but my mom was on the table and they were putting a stent into her heart, into her artery. And she was sitting there chit-chatting while they were doing the surgery. I guess she was on a local more so than anything else. And she was joking around with the doctor. She's like, "Here, gotta hurry up, doc, because I got to pick up my mom for the..." And then went out.
Whoa.
And so she died for a minute and a half, clinically fucking dead. They had to fucking try to restart the heart. So I was like, what happened? What was it? And she said, she didn't describe, like, I saw the bright lights and I saw people and blah, blah, blah. She said I was floating. And I was like, floating up? She goes, no, floating on my back. It's like, okay, well, you were on your back in the hospital. Do you think that's what it was? She's like, I don't know, but this is what I remember. Every iota of responsibility I ever felt in my life was gone. She's like, I felt free. Like I felt instantly lighter. And just as I was heading in a direction, that's when, like, they pulled her back. So she'd been dead for like a minute and a half, her heart had stopped. So I was like, all right, you've been in this best of all possible worlds for, fucking 60 plus years. Now you've seen a glimpse of the other side, which is better. And my mom said, the other side. And I said, what? You were there for like a minute and change. Why? And she said, I was completely fucking free. Like, that was it. I didn't know this one. I don't have to care for this one. I don't have to make sure this is taken care of. I don't have to feed the cat. She was like, it was bliss. She's like, and if that's what happens, then I look forward to that again. So when I was having my shit 3 months ago, and the doctor was like, you got a 20% chance of living, I was sitting there going through all the fucking shit in my head about like, all right, well, this is it. You've spent your life with your head up your ass, fucking trying to figure out who you are. Go ahead, look at your head and heart. This is it. This is the big moment. Like, what are your thoughts? What's going through? And I'm such a chicken shit in life. I assumed that I'd be like the guy who was like, I'll fucking suck your dick to stay in this life. Because I know this life and I don't know what happens afterwards and stuff. So I thought I'd be begging for help from God or something like that. But I was like, I made dogma. I'm sure Jesus would be like, go to hell. Fuck you.
Nah.
Buddy Christ my ass. So instead of doing the religious thing, I started thinking about just the journey itself. I was like, well, if the journey's ending, what are your thoughts? Just like when they held up the phone, they were like, do you want to talk to your wife? And I was like, no, of course I did. But I didn't want to because I was like, I know in my heart of hearts, if I speak to my wife right now, I'm going to be in that 20%. I'm going to die. I'm going to be in the 80%. I'm going to fucking drop dead because that's
the intensity of it.
Not even like, oh my God, it's going to kill me. It just, the way they were so like, your wife is on the phone. Do you want to speak to her right now? Was very leading. And, they're professionals, and these cats deal with life and death every day, and this was my first experience with it. So what I got out of it was...
You're probably going to die.
Was what they felt.
Yeah.
And it's still, I was in the state of like, I didn't even realize I was having a heart attack. And so I remember looking at the phone and being like, if I answer it, if I talk to Jennifer, that's going to be it. I'm not going to leave this room. So I was like, I'm going to play the odds. If I don't talk to Jennifer... Maybe there's some part of me that's like, look, I like talking to Jennifer. We've been together fucking 20 years. I better enjoy talking to Jennifer. Maybe if I put this phone call off, then I'll get to talk to Jennifer when it's all fucking done. So I said to the dude, I was like, you know what? Tell her I'll call her back. And the guy goes, seriously? And I was like, yeah. And I saw him talking and got off the phone. I was like, what'd she say? And he goes, she was fucking pissed, dude. And I was like, well, I'm dealing with my own shit right now. So I was laying there on the table, and I was like going through my life, and I was more grateful than anything else. I wasn't scared anymore. That was the thing. That was the thing that I love to communicate. I spent my whole life terrified of fucking dying. And when I was as closest to it as I ever knew I was, and for all I know, I was closer someplace, but like I was cognizant and told by a professional, this is fucking risky. I was just I was grateful more than anything else. I was like, what a fucking journey. Like, yeah, and I'm 47 and it seems short, but fucking like, you got to admit you did more than fucking most people get to do. And maybe that's why it happened at an early age, because you weren't going to get the rest of this time and shit like that. But like, I wasn't mad. I wasn't like, fucking why? This is unfair. I remembered like, there's a issue of Sandman, which I absolutely loved, Neil Gaiman's comic book series back in the day. And in like after the first story arc, we meet his sister. The main character is Dream, Morpheus, the character of Dream. He's part of the Endless, and he's got other siblings, Delirium, Desire. One of his siblings is Death, and they represent Death in the comic book. You're used to seeing the fucking Scythe and the fucking Grim Reaper and shit. She's the little emo girl, goth girl, wearing an ankh around her neck and shit like that. It was written in the 90s. And they don't tell you right away that she's Death. As you're reading the issue, you're like, oh, shit, I think she's meant to be Death. She's ferrying souls over to the other side. So you see a baby pass, and she's holding the baby, and then there's the refrain is like, I hear the sound of her wings, and that's taking this soul over to the next place as she's sitting around talking to her brother. And so she eventually gets into a room with this older guy who's like, who are you? And she's like, I'm here for you. You know who I am. And he's like, that's it? He's like, oh, my God. I did all these things. I worked my fingers to the bone, and what did I get? This is it. What did I get? And she says, like a line that when I read it when I was 18, it was powerful. But when I was laying on the fucking table, it was constantly going through my head and made it all easier, made me kind of at peace with the idea of dying. There's this line she says to the guy. She goes, you got what everybody gets. You got a lifetime. And as I was laying there, I was like, oh my God, I got a lifetime. Like that's what it was. Nothing more, nothing fucking less. And I did some shit in it, and now it's going to stop. and people are going to go on without you, and that's not terrible.
You can watch episodes, including that one, on YouTube. You can listen to the show on iTunes, on Stitcher, on Player FM, and wherever fine podcasts are found. You can go to the show's main websites at podcast.joerogan.net and, of course, www.joerogan.com. And Joe Rogan is on Twitter at JoeRogan, and Kevin Smith is on Twitter at @ThatKevinSmith, ThatKevinsmith. And now for a bit of levity, it's our Burst of Durst segment for the episode. Before I play it, I'd like to put Mr. Durst's deets up front. So you can go to Facebook.WILL.DURST.9, or you can reach him on Twitter at Will Durst. Same spelling, WILLDURST. You can go to www.willdurst.com or the Will Durst Journal, which I recommend you do. While you're there, you might take note that a performance of Durst Case Scenario Midterm Madness is scheduled for June 30th of this year, 2018, at Rhythmics Cultural Works in Alameda, California. But right now, from June 8th, 2018, King Donald, in which our intrepid correspondent makes more spurious accusations, as is his wont.
Hey guys, Will Durst here with a few choice words about the president's wacky team of lawyers. They recently wrote a letter to the special counsel's office saying that Donald Trump is above the law. Not to be confused with the first Steven Seagal movie, Above the Law, although they both look to be about in the same physical condition these days. The lawyers say the president cannot commit obstruction of justice because as chief law enforcement officer of the United States, he is the Justice Department. I am the law. The president himself tweeted out that many legal scholars say he has the absolute right to pardon himself, even though he won't need to because he hasn't committed any crimes. Like a get-out-of-jail-free card, only different. He's King Donald. Laws are for losers. Claims to have special powers, making him immune from committing a crime. Apparently, he was bitten by a radioactive spider at Camp David. What he might say is that everything he told the public was a lie, but it wasn't under oath, so it doesn't count, which is what many of us suspected from the start. His story has shifted more than the sands of the Kalahari during one of those windstorms they call a haboob. And speaking of boobs, another of his lawyers, Rudy Giuliani, says the deep state is framing the president, and he might take the fifth if any of the questions about crimes he didn't commit get too close to the truth. They're throwing up different defenses like hyperactive monkeys flinging feces at a zoo. Not only can't he be constitutionally prosecuted, but the prosecution is a conspiracy. Can't wait for them to float a diminished capacity defense. That one wouldn't be hard to sell. For Succotash, the Comedy Soundcast Soundcast, I'm Will Durst.
And here we are, on the other side of this journey through Soundcast land. There were highs and lows, chuckles and tears, or maybe that's just my subjective reaction to this content. Remember, I don't just feature clips, I also listen to the entire episode of whatever soundcast it is I'm sampling. In some cases, I become a semi-regular listener, but there really isn't enough time in the world for me to listen to every episode of even my favorite soundcasts when I want to, such as Life, Time in a Bottle, and all of that. Certainly not complaining, however, because of how enriching it feels to hear people talking and sharing information with each other, often not knowing if anyone outside of the room or wherever their soundcast is being recorded is even listening. However, because of the nature of this show and my role in it, there's a chance that I am, or will, or have at least once. And perhaps part of your show will become a part of a future show of ours. Or perhaps it already has, and you're about to furiously comb our archives at www.succotashshow.com to figure out which episode of Succotash, the Comedy Soundcast Soundcast, your soundcast was featured on. I have no idea. Whether or not any of those scenarios apply to you, you're either reading or hearing this now, and that makes me happy. If you go to www.tysonsaner.com, it will make me even happier. So until next time, I'm Tyson Saner, and I would be on the verge of ecstasy if you could find it in your heart, or perhaps just in your busy schedule, to please pass the succotash.
You've been listening to Succotash Clips, the Comedy Soundcast Soundcast with your host, Tyson Saner. Brought to you by Henderson's Pants and Imagine Your Company's Name right here. Find us on the web at succotashshow.com, on iTunes, on Stitcher Smart Radio, on SoundCloud, on YouTube, on Dunder, on Blitzen, on iHeartRadio, and on a laughable app. You can hear us streaming and like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter at Succotash Show. Email us at Tyson Saner at succotashshow.com. Or call into the Succotash hotline at our toll call number, 818-921-7212.
That number again is 818-921-7212.
You can also upload clips from your favorite comedy soundcasts directly to us by using our direct upload link at hightail.com/u/succotash. Production of Succotash is overseen by Joe Paulino through the auspices of Studio P Sausalito, hosted by Tyson Saner. Our executive producer is Marc Hershon. Our musical director is Scott Carvey. Our booth assistant is Kenny Durges. Until next time, I'm your loyal booth announcer, Bill Haywatt, reminding you to please pass the Succotash. Goodbye.